The splash of beer never hit the floor. It hung in the air for half a second, frozen between the stunned Navy SEAL's hand and the wooden bar counter. Because everyone inside the room forgot how to breathe, the young operator's voice cracked as he repeated the question he never should have asked. "Sir, what was your call sign?" The old man didn't blink, didn't smile, didn't even turn his head. He just spoke two quiet words that felt heavier than a storm. "Teacher apart." The entire bar fell dead silent, and in that silence every soldier, veteran, and civilian in the room suddenly realized they were not standing in front of an ordinary old man, but a legend they were never meant to meet. The evening had started like any other, neon lights glowing, the smell of fried wings in the air, and the comfortable noise of laughter from off-duty military personnel. It was the kind of place where stories floated around like dust, some true, some exaggerated, and most forgotten by sunrise. At the counter sat Jack Holloway, a Navy SEAL with a physique carved by years of training and a confidence he wore like armor. His team had pushed him into asking the old stranger at the bar a question that had been circulating on the base for months. Rumor had it that an elderly man, quiet and unassuming, visited this bar every Thursday. Rumor also said he once served in the most classified operations ever recorded. Operations so buried that even senior officers weren't sure they happened. Some whispered his call sign. Others refused to speak it at all, but no one believed he was real. Jack, bold and curious, walked up to him, unaware of the depth of water he was stepping into. The old man wore a plain red shirt, sleeves rolled back, skin wrinkled by years but eyes sharp as steel. He looked like someone who'd seen more than he ever talked about. Jack raised his beer, trying to sound casual. "Hey, sir, what was your call sign?" The old man looked up, not with annoyance, not with pride. Just a quiet, steady acknowledgement. "You sure you want the answer to that?" Jack laughed nervously. "My team wants to know." The man sighed, looking at the doorway as if remembering something too heavy for words. Then he spoke. "They used to call me REAPER." The room froze. The jukebox stuttered. Someone dropped a glass in the back. Jack's beer splashed upward as his hand jolted in shock. The soldiers sitting behind him, the loud ones, the confident ones, suddenly fell silent. And Jack realized he had just stepped into a story far larger than himself. When the noise finally returned, it came as a whisper from one of the younger soldiers. "Sir, no way." "The Reaper. The one who—" The old man raised a hand gently. "No legends, no embellishments. I'm just someone who did his job." But the truth was leaking through his eyes. Memories he'd carried alone for decades. Jack swallowed hard. "If you don't mind, can I ask what happened? Why they called you that?" The old man sighed, took a slow breath, and tapped the bar stool beside him. "Sit down, son. It's not a story about glory. It's a story about the choices we wish we didn't have to make." And so Jack sat, and the entire bar leaned in. The old man began speaking softly, his voice almost drowned by the hum of lights. He told them about his early days, a young recruit with nothing but determination and a quiet promise to never leave anyone behind. He spoke of missions where courage wasn't loud, but a silent decision made in the darkest hours. He never described violence. He never bragged. He never exaggerated. He talked about the teammates he'd trusted with his life, the choices that haunted him, the nights he stayed awake remembering faces and names. Jack listened, his earlier confidence fading into deep respect. "Why did they call you the Reaper?" Someone finally asked from across the room. The old man answered without lifting his eyes. "Because I was sent where no one else could go. Not because I wanted to, but because I was the last hope. And every time I came home, I carried the weight of those who didn't." The bar fell quiet again. Not with shock this time, but with understanding. Jack felt something shift inside him. He had always believed strength came from physical power, medals, flawless missions. But the old man was teaching him something different. Real strength was the ability to carry pain without letting it destroy you. Real strength was living with the past while still choosing kindness. Real strength was never calling yourself a hero, even when others did. Jack finally spoke. "Sir, after all that, how did you move forward?" The old man smiled faintly. "I learned to live again. Not by forgetting, but by honoring the ones who couldn't. Every sunrise, every small moment of peace. That's how I repay them." Jack felt his throat tighten. And when the old man stood to leave, Every soldier in the bar instinctively rose to their feet. Not because of rank, not because of duty, but because of respect. He paused at the door, giving them one last piece of wisdom. Remember this: your call sign isn't what makes you. Your choices do. Be the kind of man your team can depend on, not just in battle, but in life. The door closed behind him, and the bar stayed silent long after. That night became a story whispered across bases, ships, and training grounds. Not about a legendary operator with a fearsome call sign, but about the man behind it. A man who taught an entire room full of warriors that real greatness isn't loud, it's humble. It's human. It's earned through courage, kindness, and carrying the weight of others with dignity. Jack never forgot that night. And every mission afterward, he carried the Reaper's lesson with him. Strength isn't who you are in the moment. It's who you choose to be afterward.